Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Toonkind at 12 FPS. I am Cartoon Kitsune, also known as Kit, and I will be playing Minty, who is the therapist for this little FPS. And as for her patient,
Hey. Hi, hello, it's me. I'm Minty's patient. No, I'm not. I'm the player. It's me, Lewis, the local virus of the Toonkind server. Um, I'm playing Minty's first in-game patient, which is Tobias,
hmm
which is not a surprise actually to anyone who has listened to his games. He needs it so badly.
I mean, let's be real here. There's a lot of people at the studio who need it, but Tobias is definitely one of
God,
them.
it puts my head in my hands. So many people.
So many. Right. But yeah, I guess to start us off, yeah, I believe Tobias mentioned in like a previous FPS with the
Mm-hmm.
engineer that and he's been seeing Minty. He's already seen Minty a few times, so I feel like he's probably gone to her like maybe once or twice so far at the very least.
Yeah, at least that I would say. It's been a bit.
Hey. And like what kind of like just general stuff do you think they might have like talked about? Like I mean, there's probably like kind of getting to know each other a bit, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably the first session was just like talking to each other to learn a little bit to make the talking easier.
Exactly. Yeah, just kind of
And
getting to know one another,
mm-hmm.
basic stuff.
Yeah, exactly. For the other sessions, probably Tobias has talked a little bit about the adventures he has been in because let's be honest with ourselves. They're like a big cause of why he's here today.
Oh, absolutely. No. Yeah. No. Minty's worked with like a lot of kids who have what I've called child hero syndrome, so she definitely knows
Mm-hmm.
the perils of being a D&D protagonist.
Yeah.
It's very
It's
stressful, a
just
lot of responsibility, a lot of
mm-hmm.
life-threatening danger. So definitely the kind of thing, yeah, you should
Exactly.
talk about with. So,
There's a lot of it. So much.
and also like
Um.
another quick note is that Tobias
Mm-hmm.
has in fact given Minty his color chart because I mean she's his therapist, so it's good to know like kind of what his colors mean and whatnot. So
Yeah, it's easier. Like whereas for the other people who he has given the color chart to, for the others it was more a sort of symbol of trust that he has confidence
mm-hmm.
in them. But for Minty, it's purely for the therapy sessions. Though
Absolutely.
he does trust her because she's the therapist.
Exactly, yeah, that's kind of the whole point of her job. But yeah, she
Yeah.
definitely like if you explain that to her, she definitely understands like this is something very important. Don't like go sharing around. So she keeps the color chart like in her hammer safe, tucked away nice and safe. So
Mm-hmm.
all right,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think with all that said, we can start.
Mm-hmm.
So Tobias, you arrive outside of one of the rooms of the studio. I think it's like I'm not sure what it was used before previously, maybe like a storage room or something. It's not like a huge room.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go inside, so Mitty's like kind of only recently like come to Inkwell, and of course like she doesn't have a whole lot of money, but the engineer has been of course giving her a paycheck, and he also gave her about like 25 gold out of his pocket very recently.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing Mon
Oh
and I did in
boy.
like the PMs. But he just straight up gave her some money out of his pocket because that's just the kind of guy he is to help her get started in NyQuil and whatnot. But she's also been like getting
Yeah.
like a regular paycheck for like therapy sessions and whatnot. And since she doesn't really have to worry about like food and stuff, because I mean they have food at the
Mm-hmm.
studio, and of course like she can just always go home to Blissland. Yeah, she's been
Mm-hmm.
using her paychecks to pretty much decorate her office, and she doesn't have a ton of stuff at the moment yet. Basically, currently she just has these two really big, like puffy beanbag chairs that she and her clients can sit on. I think she probably has
Oh,
like maybe
that's
like an
really
extra
good.
one in case there's like more than one person,
Mm-hmm.
or like if one of the kids needs therapy and they want to bring their parent with them, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One of these days,
It
she's
does
hoping she
make
can
sense.
save up enough for like a proper therapy couch and armchair. So fingers crossed on that.
But for now, the bin bags are excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and they're very comfy, as a Tobias would know by now.
Hmm.
But as you come into her office, looks like she's added a couple of new like little decorations. Next to the she has like kind of a little box next to like one of the beanbag chairs where she's got she's got like a tissue box in case you need it, in case things get emotional. Um, she's got like one of those nice little like scented candles to like kind of make the air smell nice. And she's also
Hmm.
got a little bowl full of little candies. There's like there's peppermints, there's chocolates, there's like little chewy candies if you need something to chew on, that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
hell yeah. I will say this immediately. Tobias is still nervous. Like,
Aw.
it's been a few therapy sessions, but he's still nervous about this. Probably also because they probably like at the end of the last session, Minty and him have like agreed to talk about his claustrophobia
Right,
today.
yeah. Just perfectly understandable. Speaking from experience, going to therapy can be something that makes you a little nervous, but is definitely
Mm-hmm.
good when you finally go and do it. Right.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, Tobias, you are like right outside the door of Minty's therapy office now. What do you do?
Uh, I could be a funny little guy and say he just leaves, but he wouldn't. Um,
FPS over, everybody. Everyone, thanks for coming.
goodbye. No. He takes a few seconds to himself, like just pace a little bit, does some briefing because okay, it's cool, it's chill, it's fine. You've done this before, you can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Before just knocking on the door
Come in, come
before
in.
he loses
Come
before he
in.
loses his mind.
Aw.
Uh, just very gently opens the door and picks it.
And Minty is sitting inside. She's on her little beanbag chair. She's got like a little notebook. And she uses it to like write down notes and stuff during the sessions. And
Mm-hmm.
she waves to Tobias like, "Hi, Tobias. Glad you could make it. Please have a seat."
Hi, yes, I'm here. Yeah. He does come in fiddling with his ends before he goes to plop in the other beanbag.
Oh, I help yourself to some of the candy if you want. I just got that new bowl. Isn't it nice?
Oh, it's it's really nice. Yeah. I will pass on the candy though. I'm not much my thing, but thanks for the offer.
That's all right. Uh, okay. So first things off, how you feeling today?
Ah, cool. I'm doing great. A little nervous.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. It's understandable. A lot of patients feel a little bit nervous when they come in, but that's okay. Perfectly normal.
Mm-hmm.
And just as a reminder, I do have calm emotions. If you ever want me to use it, you can just tell me or give me a little signal, whatever you need.
I will be sure to remember that. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
very much.
Of course. And she kind of flips through her notes a little bit. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe at the end of our last session, we discussed that today you'd like to talk about your claustrophobia and some strategies to help deal with that. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it might be time that I addressed this because it's starting to be a little much.
Right. I understand. And I just want to say that it's very brave of you that you're are going to be facing this. And I'm glad. And of course, I'll be here to guide you through it as best I can.
Thank you.
Right.
That mm-hmm.
So I thought we could.
Continues to peddle with sense.
Of course. Nah, that's alright. Everyone has their nervous tics.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I was thinking it might be good to start off with just some sort of general strategies that could help you with deal with anxiety or panic attacks, that sort of thing. And then maybe as we go along, we can get into more of the nitty gritty kind of if you want to talk about some more specifics. But for now, we're gonna do some breathing exercises.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Right.
Sounds good.
Okay. And these are something that you can practice, not even like when you're feeling anxious, but just in general. It's actually really good to do these a little bit every day or a couple times a day just to practice them. And if you
Mm-hmm.
practice, then that way it'll become something instinctive. So if you do ever start panicking, then you'll immediately start doing it.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of nods.
Hey, don't worry, I promise these are really easy. Um,
Yeah.
right. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. I'm going to show you the method I like best. Usually the main differences are just how many seconds you breathe in or out, or if you hold your breath. But I find this method is very simple to remember. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's best to sort of count in your head as you're doing this. So the way you do it
Mm-hmm.
is you breathe in, 2, 3, 4, then hold, 2, 3, 4, then breathe out, 2, 3, 4, like that. And then you just repeat that however many times you need to.
Yeah, yeah, that seems simple enough.
Okay, do you want to try doing it with me?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if we want to like roll for this or what we would roll like.
Oh boy. I don't know what we will roll for briefing.
um, and maybe like either wisdom or
Mm-hmm.
intelligence. Like I could see that like just kind of like absorb the lesson, sort of.
Maybe intelligence because of the content in the ad.
That works. Okay, so yeah, roll intelligence.
Cool. Tobias, what is your intelligence?
Use that big brain,
Tobias.
Tobias.
Tobias does not have a big brain, but it's still a bit better. It's not that great.
Oh, buddy, it's okay. You're only starting it off.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think with that roll, you kind of trying to follow it, but like I don't know. What do you think would be his? What do you be having problems with? Like, is it like keeping count, like remembering how long to hold it, or maybe it's like the holding the breath part. Like that part might be
I
difficult.
I think I think like the biggest problem is not yet in the mindset of therapy. Like
Okay.
he's still a bit nervous of the therapy session, so
Yeah.
like his breathing is not really fluid.
Oh, that's alright. Right. Right. Okay. So you definitely seem like you're still a little bit nervous. How about we talk about that? Let's take a break from practicing their breathing exercises and talk about that. Um, so what do you think's making you feel nervous about being here?
uh, I uh I guess it's just the talking about stuff in general.
Because the subject we're going to talk about, or do you think just talking about this in general, or just talking in general about this sort of stuff?
I think the subject definitely definitely is a thing that that makes it a little worse, but it's also definitely just talking.
Right.
I'm not used to that.
Well, that's okay. Just remember that this is a safe place, and we won't do anything that you're not comfortable with. And if you don't feel ready to talk about your phobia just yet, we can always talk about something else. So just know that you can always tell me um, if we need to stop or do something different. Okay?
Mhm. Yeah, okay. I think I'm good. I just need like to go slow.
Of course. No, please take your time. We do have our hour, but we still have plenty of time. We're only just getting started.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, and you can also let me know if you ever need a hug. I'm always very happy to give those out too.
For now I think I'll be good, but I will also remember that. Thank you.
Of course. All right. Hey, do you want to say that they maybe do you want to like do another roll if they like practice the breathing a little bit?
mm, Maybe not another roll, because if I roll low again, it's gonna be
Yeah.
terrible.
I'm gonna say she gives you advantage because like you had that little talk to like kind of settle your nerves a bit.
Okay, that is entirely fair.
Hmm.
It will be really funny if we spend the whole session on breathing exercises.
I believe in you, Tobias.
It's fine, it's cool, it's chill. Hey,
Hey, there
that's
we
a
go.
19 actually.
And the other one's a
Oh,
four.
great.
That's okay.
It's
You
fine,
got a
there's the
19. That's what's
19.
important. So yes, I think about like just talking and that sort of reassurance that like you don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with, kind of helped settle your
Mm-hmm.
nerves a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Right. And I think he's at least mastered the basics of like this breathing technique and like kind of and now remembers like what the count is, and how to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's probably something he
Yeah,
still needs to like practice at every day, like she says. But for now, like you've kind of like got down the basics and you can remember to do it for the most part.
mm-hmm. I wanna say color wise, it was at the start of the session it was a very light, like very, very light purple,
Mm-hmm.
and that like the more they've done the breathing exercises and talking, the more he has started going back to his casual grin.
Ah, that's really good. Right. Yeah, it's the nice part about the colors. Minty will know like if this is
Mhm.
working, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely a big help, which is why he gave the college art.
Exactly. Yeah, just makes it easier for both of them. Right.
Exactly.
But yeah. All right. So I think after you spent like a couple minutes practicing breathing exercises, and Minty of course gives you lots of encouragement, tells Tobias that he's doing a very good job at this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He is a good boy.
He's a very good boy. He's doing amazing at these breathing techniques.
Thank God he's not Primrose, else I'm pretty sure there will be Taywogs.
Aw.
But it's fine, it's cool, it's chill.
Awesome. Okay, so yes, I think after that, he says, all right. So, if you're feeling up to it, again, you don't have to talk about it if you don't feel ready. Um, do you want to talk about, maybe where do you think your claustrophobia might stem from? I know, of course, it could be a lot of reasons. Just as a general fear response, because, well, that's just how your body reacts to being in perceived danger, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
there is always the possibility that it could have stemmed from something in your past. Um, if you feel comfortable talking about that, is there anything you think that your claustrophobia may have stemmed from?
Um, I think like the very first sentence that she said, like, do you know where it comes from?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Literally at this first sentence, his breath definitely itched
Ooh.
because, boy, he knows he didn't remember for a good long time, but he has had some talking with, his sister, and, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he felt ready to remember that, so she told him what happened.
Uh, you think like maybe when she said that, when Minty just said that, like his color might have changed again a little bit?
Yeah, they probably like kind of went back. Like it still is casual green, but there are still spots of light purple.
Right. Kind of mixing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Maybe just a tiny little bit of lavender, but mostly purple.
Hey. Yeah, and remember, she does have calm emotions
Mhm.
if Toby ever needs to like signal her to like cast that on him.
Yeah, I think for now he's good. Like maybe Minty cocks to the side and tries to tell him about calm emotions again, just in case. But he just makes the gesture of "No, I'm good for now."
Okay, yeah. Yeah, she brings it up.
Uh,
But yeah, she won't
mhm.
rush him. She'll like basically just like if he needs to like take a moment to like kind of like ready himself to like talk about this, or if he just needs to breathe or whatever. She'll be very patient, of course.
Mhm. I think like he does the little breath out to calm himself
Mm-hmm.
for a second before thinking about it and trying to find the words. Um so the claustrophobia, cool. So that was a moment in my life. Um, okay, so I was very, very young when that happened, and um, how do I put this? So I suffered quite a lot of bullying when I was at school,
Well, I'm very sorry to hear
and
that.
it's fine.
No, it's not fine, and it's clear
Mhm,
that it's not fine. All right, you don't have to.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying it's a thing that happened in the past, and
Okay.
like I can't really change what happened, but like so yeah, so one day they kind of took it too far,
Mhm.
and I don't remember if I told you that, but I'm part Fae or
It,
entirely Fae, I'm not sure.
yes,
But
I believe you mentioned that in one of our
mhm,
previous sessions when we were getting to know each other.
okay, great. So like that Fae part of me means that I'm quite allergic to silver and iron,
Mhm.
and the lockers at at school were made, in fact, of iron. And the kids didn't know that it hurt me that bad, and they thought it would be a funny idea to lock me in one of them.
She nods. I see. And yeah, and that must have been very scary for you, and not to mention painful.
Yeah, that was. My sister had to come and break down the locker herself to get me out. And after that, I remember I completely forgot about that whole part, and I woke up at the hospital with amnesia about that whole part of my life.
Mhm.
And the doctor said it was just a trauma,
Mhm.
and that my brain was trying to protect me.
Right, that is something that can happen. As a trauma response, a person's brain can block out certain traumatic memories as a sort of defense mechanism.
Hmm.
So that may very well be what had happened to you, and this can especially be the case when you're very young.
Yeah. And so that happened,
Mm.
except that um even if I forgot about what happened, I was still scared of being stuck in very small spaces
Of course.
after that.
Hmm.
So
Right.
yeah, that's where it came from.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure.
Right. And do you think that maybe even though your brain repressed part of the memory, your body may have subconsciously recalled the fact that you were in physical pain as well during that moment, and I
Mm,
believe, and as a result, it's possible that that's why you react so strongly because you subconsciously assume that being in a closed space will be also
mm-hmm.
sorry, I'm having trouble wording this. That
Yeah,
being,
no, don't,
yeah,
no
all right.
worries.
That being in a closed space like that will also cause you physical pain as well, possibly be dangerous to your well-being.
I mean, I guess that does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was big enough of an event that the scar was integrated into my design.
Mm.
So,
Right. That's also a thing can happen with the tunes with a significant event in their lives.
mhm.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm gently putting that funky reference for people who are curious.
Oh
But
wow.
that's yeah, so that big mark on his back
Mm-hmm.
is the burn scar, in fact.
Oof. Oh, poor Toby.
Hmm.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. That wasn't a great moment.
No, it's really not. This poor guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying that Minty is, of course, like staying very calm, like as therapists
Hmm.
should. It's very important to not like kind of get like, uh, what's the word, like get too personally invested, sort of thing. Like once you
Yeah,
care about your patients, but you've got to like kind of remain calm, to help them work through this.
yeah. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, I can definitely say, I mean, claustrophobia was definitely a very normal phobia to have, but with this information, it's especially understandable that you would be afraid of enclosed spaces because of that. And I just want to say I'm so very sorry that that happened to you, and I'm glad that you're, of course, in a much better place now compared to that, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Like life has definitely been much better these days.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I'm getting like slowly but surely I'm getting better.
Yeah. And I think it was also very nice that back then you had your sister to look after you and that she came to get you out of that locker. Um,
Hmm.
would you say that maybe thinking about that and how she got you out of there maybe helps you feel a little better? It's sort of a maybe nicer part of what is not a very nice, so not so nice memory.
I I guess I could count it as a happy moment because it was the moment of liberation, but I was kind of lost in the you know in the pain to really think about it too much. So
Of course. I suppose what I'm sort of getting at is that in that moment you had somebody who came to get you and was able to
hmm
help you out. And would you say that now in the present you have other people who would do that? Not just your sister, but maybe somebody else you could trust to, if something happened to you, would come and get you like your sister did back then?
oh yeah, yeah. No, I definitely have a lot of people today who will help me.
Mm-hmm. Could you?
He does smile at that a lot because, God, that's many people.
Exactly. I was gonna ever say like if he wants to like name a few of them, like more so just to like kind of have that like kind of list in his head, kind of. And it's good to say this sort of stuff out loud, kind of reaffirm it for
Hmm.
yourself. So
Yeah,
yeah, you don't have to like actually list every single person off
yeah.
if you want to.
No,
This is basically just like however many people he wants to list. So.
no, no. He does definitely like the first people he does list are Engineer Marcel, Primrose, and Larry.
Mm-hmm.
But like he continues to list people like Moves and others
Mm-hmm.
that he knows will help him in this kind of situation.
Right. Okay.
Hmm.
So I think one good strategy might be if you're ever in either a situation where you're stuck in a closed space or if you're in any very stressful stress-inducing situation, it might be a good idea to remember that list of people in your head and remember that if something happened to you, I'm pretty sure that all of them would want to come and find you and help you out and make sure that you're okay.
Hmm.
And thinking about things like that can be a good way to sort of help you calm your nerves. And even just like saying a list to yourself, something like that can help distract you from what's causing you to panic, which can help you calm down again.
Yeah, yeah. I get. The engineer also gave me the idea to use a spell to make me smaller too in the space.
Oh, that's a
So
very
that
yeah, that's a very good idea
it,
actually. Are you able to cast
hmm
a spell like that?
um well, I was looking into one spell that I can cast now
Mm-hmm.
that can make me either smaller or bigger. So I guess it could be a good thing.
I think so. I think that would be a good strategy to sort of give yourself more room if you're in a situation like that.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good strategy. So I definitely think I also agree that you should look into that. Let's see. Um, and of course, one other method is again, practicing those breathing techniques can be very useful because you've practiced them enough, then you'll instinctively start doing those if you're having a panic response.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll probably try to practice them to get used to them.
Of course, and of course, breathing techniques like that can be very versatile, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a good thing to learn. I teach a lot of my patients those sorts of breathing techniques because it's just a good thing to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something that every people
Mm-hmm.
should know, honestly.
Right. And then she kind of flips through her notes again. Uh, let's see. So I wanted to bring this up just to see how you feel about this, but I will state beforehand that this is more of a sort of drastic measure that not everybody likes to do because it can be a bit unpleasant. Have you heard of the term exposure therapy?
Ah, yeah, I know what this is.
Mm-hmm. Right. And again, I'm not gonna suggest. I'm only suggesting it like just so you know what your
Mm-hmm.
options are. But again, exposure therapy can be a bit of a more risky method for overcoming a phobia,
I
especially if
mean,
you do it incorrectly. But if done correctly, it can help you sort of, for lack of a better term, build up tolerance to whatever your phobia is. So, like, say,
mm-hmm.
if somebody was afraid of spiders, for instance, you would start out by just showing them a picture of a spider and having them get used to looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's and if that and if they get used to that, then maybe you might move on to looking at a spider in a glass box that it can't get out of, for instance, and so on and so on. Basically, sort of introducing the person to what they're afraid of in a safe environment in gradually increasing increments, as opposed to throwing them into facing that fear all at once, which can be a lot more dramatic and not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could try that
Right, and of
one
course, I'm
day.
not saying we have to try that right away. It's just
Yeah,
again, it's
no,
just another
obviously.
option. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's always good to try just to see if it works or not.
right. Okay. And if you like, I do have a couple of ideas on maybe how we could.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not going to do these right now, but just if you would want to try that exposure therapy method. Um, so one idea I had was maybe just sitting with a blanket over your head, for instance, since it would be sort of a small space, but it's a blanket. You can take it off very easily.
I mean,
It
I
won't.
can like a blanket is not the problem. Like I've done this a lot of times before.
Of course.
Um, I think the thing that scares me most in the claustrophobia is the idea of not being able to get out of the space. Not really the small space in itself, because if it's small but I can get out whenever I want, I tend to be more okay than if I'm stuck in there.
All right. Hmm. In that case, hmm, I do have to wonder if you might have sort of, in addition to the claustrophobia, something that's called carcerophobia, which is
Mm,
specifically that one is actually a fear of prisons and jails, sort of the fear of maybe being in prison, but it can also fall under the fear of being like in prison like that, like not being able to get out of somewhere. So do you think
I
that might
I
describe
mean
it as well?
maybe I think it's more like a mix of claustrophobia in this one, in the sense
Carcerophobia,
that
right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like because with this one it's kind of the opposite, where if I'm if the door is locked and I can't get out of the room but the room is big enough, I won't be really scared
Mm-hmm.
because I have the space to move and extend my arms
Right.
and just walk around.
Mm-hmm. Right. That makes sense. And again, it's a very natural fear to have. a very understandable fear to not being able to get out of somewhere.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so in that case, because it would be again a bit more difficult to do exposure therapy for something like that because well that would require you being stuck in a room and not being able to come out, which I wouldn't want you to have to go through. So I think our best bet is to focus on what we talked about previously, the breathing exercises to prepare for if something does happen, and that sort of saying that list of people back to yourself as a way to sort of have something different to focus on, and
Mhm.
as sort of a way to not focus on the panic because you know that you have all of these different people who would come and find you if you did get stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That sounds good.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. And let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that they should cover with this.
I mean, it kind of depends what route you want to take this, because I personally know that Tobias has more than claustrophobia.
Of course. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like how she would bring this up,
Mm-hmm.
or again, like actually, I could roll insight on him to like see if there's anything else, like maybe he wants, if there's
You,
something he wants to say, but he doesn't feel comfortable saying it right now.
mm-hmm. And you can roll inside with advantage.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because for those of you listening in, well, in this case, technically, Minty would have double advantage, but I'm not going to do that because that's a little cheap. But for those of you listening, Minty has advantage on insight rolls for Tobias because she has his color sheet, but also because of the events of the never-ending train, and because she was like the therapist on the train for so long, even though she doesn't remember that, she has
Yep.
advantage on any rolls relating to therapy, basically. So I'm just gonna roll
Mm-hmm.
these. All right. 13 and an 18.
Eh.
Alright, so what can she glean from an 18?
Well, I think that she feels like he doesn't really have much else to say about is claustrophobia, because he, like in previous sessions, he already has told Minty about the different adventures he has been on.
Of course, yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he has in fact talked about the, if I remember correctly, the 3 times where he has been stuck in that way that activates his fear.
Right. I know there was the one from Sleepy Time Junction that was like the big one when he got stuck in that nightmare where he's
Mm-hmm.
like stuck in a space. What are the other two,
Yep.
just to refresh my memory?
Uh Uh, well, actually, it was four. Like, it was 3 more times because there's Monster Mash Bash now, but there's 2 others where it was also magical nightmares
Okay.
made by the same guy, which was Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
And one happened at the CCR, and the other happened when they were fighting Kyle to get Marcel back.
Right.
And it those 2 times
Mm-hmm.
Tobias got stuck in a magical nightmare where he was in fact
Mm-hmm.
stuck in a very small space and couldn't move.
Yeah.
And the last time that happened was at that Halloween party that Primrose led them to,
Mm-hmm.
and where Tobias and Primrose got stuck in a coffin.
Oh no.
Yeah, in a mechanical coffin that really wanted to keep them in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm definitely seeing a theme of like magically induced nightmares here as well, which
hmm
yeah.
But yeah, like he probably told Minty about all of that,
Right.
but he doesn't really have much else to say about it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think in that case, like she might bring it up. I do remember one other thing. When you were telling me about some of your previous adventures, in our other sessions, I did see a running theme of you were being afflicted by magically induced nightmares.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't think I've gotten any bad feeling from that. like I got my claustrophobia, but that wasn't the best time. And if
Mm-hmm.
I am gently gesturing again at the
Mm.
at the scar chart, and you see that big purple scar on his front.
Right, is that from like a fear
Um,
spell or?
that was in fact from because Kyle is Alfmara, where was Alfmara,
Right.
and the last time that he has struck Tobias with a fear spell
Mm-hmm.
and got him stuck in a nightmare, it was big enough that it left an imprint on him.
Mm-hmm. Right, I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, um, I will say, in terms of dealing with magical afflictions like that, admittedly, that's something that is not really in my expertise. As a therapist, I'm more about helping people cope with either traumatic events they've already had or coming up with strategies to deal with things like stress in the future and that sort of thing. In terms of dealing with magic, I'm not as much of an expert. Uh, I will say though, I can recommend you to well, of course you're dating Marcel, so you definitely know him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one option
Yeah.
could maybe talk to him since he knows more about magic. And again, no guarantee. I don't know enough to know, but maybe he
Mm-hmm.
knows some sorts of wards or spells that you can use to protect yourself in case somebody tries to use a spell like that on you again.
I mean, I do know a few spells already, but I could definitely talk to him about
Mm-hmm.
that.
I know
Just kind
once.
of
Yeah.
nods while he thinks
Exactly,
about
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I know there's one spell I use. I'm not sure if you can learn this one, though I did hear that you are also a bard, so maybe you can learn it.
Mm-hmm.
Is a spell I use very often, Calm Emotions.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about maybe learning it, but I wasn't sure, but I may look into it.
Right, I definitely think it's a very useful spell to have around. Maybe not so much in combat, but it can definitely be useful for both, especially for my job. But again, if you have a friend and they're having anxiety attack, or if you're having one, then you can cast it on
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And I will say outright though that calm emotions, it's not a way to fix everything. I think of it more as sort of a reset button for when your
Yeah.
emotions are sort of too big for you to handle, and you just
Mm-hmm.
sort of need to like kind of stop for a moment and, like I said, reset yourself.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and it's also good to it's good to use, but it's good. It's not good to rely on it too much to the point where
Mm-hmm.
you're dependent on it. Of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
Okay. I could show you how I cast mine.
I'm
Maybe in the
sure.
future, or yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
right. I think she'll kind of mm, I'm gonna say maybe like roll I say roll Arcana like as she's casting it, so you can kind of like maybe see like how much you pick up
Mm-hmm.
on like how the casting ever works, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right,
Arcana, Arcana, Arcana.
all right.
My beloved whomst I do not get the chance to use much. A
Okay, that's a
7.
7. All right. Can I say roll it with advantage because she's like kind of like like sort of teaching you about it?
Going slow. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Tobias is not the magic smart one. That's a
Oh,
7
that's a
again.
7. Dice Parser said 7 and only 7. Jeez.
It's a lucky number.
Yeah. Not quite so in this case, but yeah. All right.
He's not the magic smart one.
That's fair enough. So I think you watch her like casting it, and of course, like as she casts it, like there's kind of a calm like sensation that flows over the entire
Mm-hmm.
room, which might feel good to Tobias because like he's been a little bit nervous throughout all this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you don't quite like pick it up like how to cast it right away, which is understandable because I mean like mechanically he doesn't know the spell, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and probably also because, like, every caster has their own way of casting their spells.
Of course, yeah, it's a little different for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's about all we really want to cover. Unless there's anything else you want to cover, I think we can start wrapping it up in character. So
I personally can't think of anything now, but that was very soft.
okay. In that case, Mitty's gonna kind of look up at like a clock or something she has on the wall, and be like,
Well, looks like that's the end of our hour.
and she stands up, and as she
Mhm.
does at the end of all of her sessions, she will offer you a hug if you want one, a handshake if you do not, and just a friendly farewell if you don't want either of those.
Mhm. I feel like for this session is going to give her a hug.
All right, yeah, you kind of crouch down because she is very small, and she gives you a great
Yeah.
big hug, and
Listen,
it's
you
very.
say you say you say she's very small. Tobias is 4 or 5.
Oh, I think yeah, I think Minty actually yeah I think Minty's only like I want to say 4'2".
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, she's
Yeah,
tiny.
there's no problem.
Yeah. So you probably doesn't need to crouch down all that much. She just kind of gives him a hug.
Mhm.
And of course, she's
Hell yeah.
very, very soft, like a stuffed animal. And you feel all nice and warm and tingly when you hug her. It feels very nice,
Oh,
very
that's very
comforting.
cute. That is very, very soft.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Anything with that?
Yeah.
She says farewell to
Mhm.
you. Wishes you all the best. And yeah, I think that is the end of their therapy session.
Yeah.
Yay! That was really fun. What'd you think?
Little victory jingle. First
Yay!
therapy session complete.
Woohoo!
Hey, that was very, very, very soft. Thank you
Yes.
very much for this.
Of course, no. I'm so glad that we could do an FPS together, and especially the therapy one.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah, it was very good.
yay! All right, and I
On
think
it.
I'm gonna end the recording here.
Mhm.
So I'll say goodbye to everybody listening.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.